LS3P is a multidisciplinary firm that offers architecture, interiors, and planning services for clients across the Southeast. Today, I talk one-on-one with the CEO of LS3P, Marc Marchant, for this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups. And if you haven't already, subscribe to my YouTube channel and like Quintin's Close-Ups on Facebook. Marc Marchant, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Good to be with you, Quintin. It's good to see you again.
Yes. We've seen each other a couple of times in downtown Charleston over the past couple of days. Yeah. But of course, you are the CEO of LS3P, which is a multidisciplinary firm offering architecture, interiors, and of course, planning services to a wide variety of clients nationwide. So tell me, Marc, what's new, what's now with LS3P?
Well, it's good to see you again. What's new with us is quite a bit. I think last time you and I were together was maybe 3 years ago, and so we were in the midst of beginning a new strategic plan. We were in growth mode, as we still are today. But what's new is that we've added an office since you and I last spoke in Jacksonville, which has been very exciting. I think we were on the heels of adding 3 other offices at the time, which was Asheville, Greensboro, and Atlanta. And so we've added Jacksonville since you and I last spoke. We're up to about 12 offices, close to 500 people, which is very exciting. And we continue to look at ways to grow our people, our projects, the interaction we have with our clients, and how we can best serve our communities. So a lot of continuous change as we continue to grow in the Southeast. And it's very exciting indeed to be in the business of architecture, planning, and design.
And God willing, one day I'll get on the Amtrak train and go down to Jacksonville on a 4-hour trip there and visit, because that's a great city, of course, from what I hear. But let me ask you this, Marc. How do you all actually interact with your clients with this growth mode that you have?
Well, one of the things that's allowed us to do is to optimize the resources we have across 12 offices and 500 people to better serve our clients. And what I mean by that is it's really about finding the best team to serve a particular project or a particular client throughout the resources that we have available to us. So if you imagine we are trying to design a new high school for a client in South Carolina, it doesn't necessarily mean that all of our design team members are going to be in that particular office. We may bring in some expertise in advanced manufacturing, for example, because the school may have a program related to the trades. And we may bring in some expertise from within the firm to help with that design process or the programming process of that school. Similarly, in healthcare, we've got a great healthcare team across the firm, whether it's a surgery center or a new acute care tower for women's and children's. We have different expertise around the firm that we can deploy to that particular project or that particular client to help optimize their outcomes through design excellence and innovation and expertise.
And this might be a silly question, but what resources actually matches those current projects that you all are working on right now with your clients?
Well, I guess in many ways it depends on the project, right? But if we stick with something like healthcare, for an example, we are working on a new hospital for Novant Health up in Wilmington, North Carolina. Our core healthcare team is located in the Wilmington office. They have the relationship with the client. They've worked on many projects together with that client. But we have some other expertise in our other offices that come in to support some of the design needs, whether it's around radiology or surgery or inpatient care, because the expertise in other offices may have experience in those particular design opportunities within that project. And so we want to leverage the best resources in our firm to provide the best service to our clients. I hope that makes sense. It's kind of a little bit of an example.
Oh, yes, sir. Absolutely. And I skipped over this a little bit, Marc, but why Jacksonville? Why now?
Yeah, we see an opportunity in Jacksonville because Florida continues to be one of the fastest growing states in our country. If you look at some of the statistics over the last 3 or 4 years, and certainly this is post-pandemic, but many people are moving to the Southeast. Florida is the number one growth state in the Southeast. I think the number one growth state in the country is Texas, but Florida for sure. And for us, North Florida is attractive because Jacksonville has a very similar kind of cultural tie to some of our other coastal communities like Savannah and Charleston and Wilmington. There are similar project opportunities and similar challenges in Jacksonville that we encounter in other locations, like how do you design around water? How do you deal with opportunities around transportation in a port community, and things like that. So there's some similarities there. There's also a lot of opportunity in Jacksonville. I'm not certain if you've been down there. It sounds like you said you need to visit by Amtrak, but there's a lot of opportunity for growth there in Jacksonville, and we saw that as the population change begins to happen. There's needs for more schools and more healthcare as we all begin to return to office here in 2025. I can't believe I'm still saying that, but the opportunity to grow commercial buildings down there. There's a large industrial manufacturing corridor related to the ports and related to distribution and transportation. So very similar sectors that we're used to working in: healthcare, education, industrial manufacturing, and certainly a similar cultural fit for us in terms of people and lifestyle and the acumen around work-life balance.
What exactly is that work-life balance post-COVID for your employees and your company?
That's a great question, and I think a lot of companies are still working through some of that. We were very fortunate, even last time you and I spoke, that many of our offices were able to return back to the office pretty early, and part of that was being in the Southeast and not having to depend on a lot of public transportation like you have in some of the larger cities around the country. And I think part of it too was cultural and in some ways political, right? I mean, South Carolina was quick to come back, and the government was pushing for that for certain. At LS3P, we have a flexible work policy where our expectation is that people are in the office when they can be at least 3 days a week. We know that in many ways we're better when we're together. The design industry is about deep collaboration. When you think about designing buildings or working on interior design challenges, it's nice to be together to share ideas, to literally kind of roll up your sleeves, pull out the paper and pen, and work together. We also know that some of the work we do is very focused oriented, whether it's writing proposals or contracts or reading through specifications, and a lot of that can be done with heads down kind of work or focus work, and so we give the flexibility for our team members to work remotely to do that. It gives them a better opportunity to focus on specific tasks. We also know, and I think again we learned this through COVID, that it's important to support our people's personal needs and certainly family needs. And so this flexibility around the workday gives our team members the opportunity to deal with things as they need to, and then make up that time or focus on work time when it's convenient to the team that they're working with and also convenient to them. We went to a 7-day sort of work week in terms of how we catalog our time. And so let's say on a Tuesday, something comes up on a Tuesday afternoon, and one of our team members has to address that outside of work. That time can be made up throughout the week. And so it gives the people the flexibility to balance personal needs and work needs. Again, with the idea that it's important to communicate that well with your team, that collaboration is really what makes us better. And as long as we can find a balance for our people, I think we get great work out of everyone.
And you touched on something very intriguing, Mark. But let me ask you, what is the state of the design industry as you know?
I think the design industry is still in a strong and growing state. I don't know that that's true across the entire country, but certainly in the Southeast where we are located, there still continues to be a lot of opportunities for design projects. It's somewhat dependent on sector, and so what we're seeing is that multifamily there's a great need for multifamily in the Southeast, and we have quite a few opportunities that we're looking at there. But some of that's dependent on financing and getting money at lower rates. And as you know, with some of the rates being still high, that can sometimes make it difficult for developers or private equity to invest in projects like multifamily. So we're kind of straddling the need for growth in our region to house people, and also the reality that financing is still somewhat of a challenge. However, I think our clients are finding creative ways to address project needs, whether it be multifamily or healthcare. Certainly, education, K through 12, and higher education is pretty strong in our region. The industrial manufacturing sector continues to be strong, and again, I think that's driven partially by ports and large distribution centers in the Southeast. We've become an area where data centers are popping up everywhere. And so that's driving some development, and we're fortunate to be the recipients of being in a region that's growing, and also being in an area where there seems to be a lot of excitement around multiple sectors. Hospitality is another one. I mean, you read about it in the papers as much as anyone in our region that there's still a great interest in hotels and hospitality around the Southeast because people want to visit here.
Oh, absolutely. What are those project needs for your clients that you and your team are keeping an eye on from a trending standpoint?
Well, I think like a lot of industries, the changes in technology and how that's maybe affecting the workforce, how that's helping different clients see opportunity for growth in the future of their business, whether that's education or healthcare, or other industries that are very much tied to technology. So, how do we address that with them is important. I think also we're seeing a lot of consolidation and mergers of different companies within sectors, ours included. Where you're beginning to see, and healthcare is a really great example, where you're beginning to see larger health systems collaborating with or partnering with smaller community health systems, and sometimes merging with them. So what does that mean from a growth standpoint, or the need to improve facilities, improve care for people? Some of the opportunities we see in our region are related to funding. You know, back to the equity comment I made earlier. And so, are legislators funding higher education in our states? Are we still having bond referendums offered at the county level to build new schools? We can help. We help some of our school districts develop the cost and strategic opportunities for school growth in counties. And so those are some of the things we're constantly looking at, is growth strategies for our client and how we can plug in our value related to design and planning to help them realize some of their future potentials.
And this is a simplistic question, but what is the value of LS3P?
Are you talking about the actual cash value, or the value that we provide to our clients? I assume it's the latter.
Sorry, I didn't make that clear. But yeah,
it's good and funny at the same time.
Yeah.
I'd like to go back to something we discussed years ago, which is our vision statement. Sure. And so much of our value is tied to the vision that we've developed, which really drives our business every day. And it starts with our commitment to the Southeast. That commitment has to do so much with the design service we provide, but it's also that commitment to community that we live in and work in and play in. So how do we interact with our community through volunteer service opportunities? How do we interact with our community by serving on community boards and not-for-profit boards, and interact with the people that we do business with every day? I think there's great value there. And it starts with that opening part of our vision statement, our commitment to the Southeast. We're truly committed to our communities, We're not only making our communities better through service, but certainly making our communities through design, which gets to the other part of our vision, which is creating architecture that enriches community. How do we develop the best design solutions that not only provide value for our clients, but also provide value to the community that the building is part of, right? If we're working on a project in downtown Charleston, the context of that project is just as important as the project itself. And so we want to design projects that are sensitive to the sensitive to the context, but also provide outstanding design solutions for the specific project at hand. So there's a balance there. And then lastly, again, value is part of our vision. We're interested in really deepening four tenets of that vision, which is design expertise, innovation, design excellence, and collaborative engagement. And so what that means is, and it's back to what we talked about earlier this morning, is how do we leverage the best of what we have at the firm, this idea of collaborative engagement, to provide the best solutions for our clients or the best services to our clients. That's a high value that LS3P can provide as a one firm, providing services to our client that I think is different than other firms that might just be in one city or may not have a collaborative nature across the network of multiple offices and multiple sectors. Again, deepening expertise. Are we continuing to provide professional development opportunities for our people and leadership development for our people to make them better at what they do so they can provide the best services to our clients? All of these things are ingrained in our vision, and all these things, I think, underscore the value that LS3P has for our clients and our community.
Where do you see leadership and professional development for your company going in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a great question, and we've made a lot of investments in that exact thing with LS3P. We actually we've taken a very intentional look at people development and investment in talent for our team members. We actually have a learning and development manager within the firm. He recently joined us in the past 6 months. Part of his responsibility is training and development of our people. And there's really kind of two types of training and development. One is around professional service or professional acumen. So if you're an architect, how do we equip you with the best tools and processes to be a better architect? If you're a marketing professional, same thing. How do we give you the best tools and acumen to be a better marketing professional? Or if you're an accountant with LS3P, same thing. So how do we develop better professional or services and training for our people to be better? And then there's the leadership side of that. We've invested in one of the individual, the name escapes me, but sort of a personal and professional assessment program. It's called Quintin. You've probably heard of it. There's some others that are similar, DISC or SDI. You've probably heard of those. But our entire firm is going through a Clifton Strengths analysis. And what that allows us to do is determine the strengths of each individual in the firm, but also look at the strengths of teams. So when we put a group of individuals together, what strengths do they have as a team? And then maybe where do they have areas for improvement? We can look at that from our leadership teams to our project teams to our individual teams like marketing or accounting or HR or architects, and really focus then on how do we develop some of the skills that maybe need to be worked on for that individual, for that team. That's another investment in leadership and professional development. And then we do some internal kind of leadership coaching. We also use some external coaches to help with leadership, things around emotional intelligence or self-awareness, or how do you lead high-performing teams, and what does shepherd leadership look like, and is that something that's important to you? So we're taking a lot of time and investment in time and treasure to do that, to help our people be better, which ultimately helps our teams be better, which ultimately helps us serve our clients better.
And one last question for you, Mark. What does LS3P want to invest in next here in the Southeast?
Well, I think we'll continue to invest in our people, which I just talked about. I think that's first and foremost. The better people we have, clearly, the better we can do our work and serve our clients. We're going to continue to invest in building expertise as well, demonstrating that we can serve all of the clients and project types that are available in our region to create projects that benefit client and benefit community. So we'll continue to invest in the expertise building of our people, which means attracting more talent to the firm and also building the existing talent we have. That includes sending people to conferences that are focused on the services they provide every day. That also means doing internal training, as we've already discussed. We're going to continue to invest in community, and that means encouraging and empowering our people to get involved in things that are important to them and are important to our firm. Hopefully, both are aligned. I think when we certainly make our communities better, not only does that help us as those that inhabit the communities that we live, work, and play, but also it elevates everyone. As you know, the more we're involved with people in our communities, the more we get to know them, the more they get to know us. People buy from people. People want to work with people. And so that continued investment in community certainly elevates things for everyone, which is a wonderful thing and really kind of quite simple. So I think those are some of the continued investments we'll make. We're always looking to grow, as you can imagine. We've over the past 4 years, we've grown by 4 offices through mergers and through startups. We'll continue to look at opportunities like that as they present themselves. We're actually in the middle of, or at the very end of creating our next 5-year strategic plan. It's called Evolution 30. The reason it's called Evolution 30 is it looks out to 2030, but also it's an evolution of what we are already doing really well and how we can continue to improve the things to help make our firm better so we can better serve our clients. And so that evolution plan looks at things like design excellence and design expertise and how we can deepen that. It looks at, again, as we've talked about, how do we invest more in our people? How does research and innovation help provide us with new and exciting ways to solve problems, new and exciting ways to address design opportunities with buildings and with planning? We're going to continue to look at ways to improve our efficiency. How do we complete our task in a more efficient way? And part of that is using the right people on the right project or on the right problem. But some of that is also leveraging technology and leveraging tools and integrating artificial intelligence into the things we do. Embracing technology to make us more efficient and also have better outcomes. Again, continued investment in what we do and how we do things. So that's a long answer to what are we investing in,
Yes,
but as you can imagine, there's very few things not to invest in. There's a lot to do if we want to continue to be on a growth trajectory.
Oh, absolutely. And I hope I can get you back on in the next year or two to talk about this strategic plan for 2030. But for right now,
Sure.
Mark, oh, yes, sir. Marc Marchant, CEO of LS3P. Thank you so much for your time. And again, welcome back to Quintin's Close-Ups.
Great to be with you, Quintin, and see you on the street.
Yes, with this bike helmet.
That's right.
And the bike.